Peace and greetings, everyone. My name is Jessica Perry, recently departed member of the Republic of Mentellect, known there as Nuben Menkarayzz. And the purpose for this recording is to share an open letter that I have here, written and conducted by myself. So here we are. Dear Menkarayzz, sisters, brothers, eternal beings of dark and light, masculine and feminine, I write this open letter in pure intent, pure will, and most of all, in wholeness, balance, and integrity. I know it necessary to clear all of your misconceptions, perceptions, assumptions, and miscomprehensions. Let me turn my music down a bit. You so readily and constantly state from a place of false authority on myself and my spouse, Stephen. Many ask, but why is this necessary? Well, because for all those listening under the sound of your voice only, Nuben, it's simply misleading of facts and truth. My other personal why is I must release what is in my mind and soul so that I may forgive you. Forgive you not for you, but for me and my continuation of my sojourn. In this forgiveness I extend to you. I also extend it to myself and all those who have aided you, who are connected to you in your intentional or unintentional deception. I forgive you all. Clearly, you know not what you do. Thus, you do not know yourselves truly and wholly. What am I forgiven of? I'm forgiving you, Nuben Menkarayzz, and R.O.M members of each and everyone's intentional, blasphemous disrespect on my name, my character, and my soul essence. Whether this has been done openly, on your deceptive cast, on social media pages, or in your private chat groups, because FYI, I see those too. I will myself to forgive intentionally, so I can intentionally move my own self into the next phase of this revelation of this particular journey in deputation. Moving upward with the divine, knowing nothing is no longer hidden, as all things are and have been revealed. Facilitating and encouraging this is Justice herself, the Great Mother, the Divine Father of full protection. So I forgive, and I forgive myself, but shall never and will not forget this transformative stage in my journey. Forgiving honestly my own self for allowing your folly to take a step into my life, Nuben. Forgiving to not forget retribution will be had, thus balance will manifest itself forward. Forgiving to return all your ill intents back to you. Return to sender 100-fold by the power of 3 times 3. Now that I have gotten that part out of the way, let me address you, Menkarayzz, on some misfacts you have confidently stated for your illusionary fantasy of lies, trickery, and deceit. For those listening, including you, Nuben, how my spouse Stephen and I met and connected does not credit back to you, sir. Let me make that class for you. Let it be known Stephen was already a R.O.M member a year and a half before myself, becoming a member late December of 2016, and I spring of April 2018. See how you attempt to illustrate your false narratives to be in favor of you, Nuben, of Nuben's deceptive agenda, to paint a picture in the way you want others to see it, that's manipulation, Nuben. Thus, we met outside of the realms of the R.O.M community. Stephen was always very eager to share with me about the Republic of Mentellect and would often encourage me to send in my letter for membership. This he did countlessly and effortlessly with others as well. Prior to Stephen and I having any dialogue on the Republic of Mentellect, I myself was already seeking the community out on my own. However, I would utilize Stephen to do my own background and research on the group, to know the history of the group. The history of a thing can usually give one context clues as to the present and future of that particular thing. However, Stephen had nothing but positive things to say about the R.O.M and you, Nuben. Even when I was able to point out some contradictions in some of the broadcasts we would listen to together, at the end, he would still side with you. Why? Because he is genuinely a loyal man to those he has extended his loyalty to, sometimes even to a fault. I initially shared with Stephen, I do not care for or like Nuben's personality, character, or energy. However, as a mature adult woman, a thinking woman, I was willing and did put those feelings and internal intuition to the side for a greater reasoning within myself. I naturally had an aversion to you, Nuben. So let it also be clear, I did not join your community for you or your members. If that had been the case, that is what would have kept me from joining. I joined for the simple and genuine fact that I could be of service in a community that appeared to be building on sufficient principles of collective like-minded beings. A community filled with balanced beings, upright beings, a community organized and whole. Realizing this later in various observations and experiences was further from the reality. Oh, and interactions. It was further from the reality of what was really going on. Only to experience a man I naturally and intuitively had an aversion to, but chose to extend respect and gratitude towards anyways. Why do we do that? I honestly respected what it appeared that you were doing. I suppose, in other words, I respected the illusion and fallacy that was placed before me. I genuinely made an effort to connect with the majority of the active sisters there by first initiating dialogue and taking the time and energy to create handcrafted sisterly gifts for all those that said that they were going to be in attendance with what would be my first Mentellect weekend in New York of 2018. I made what I thought at the time genuine connections with 8 different sisters. Some who have now exited the R.O.M and some who still remain as members. Once I was able to get a feel of the other sisters' energy, I began to relax a bit more into my sisterly self. I began to assert my sisterly role as a woman and mother, only to find it mostly not welcomed or rejected by many of the women there. I agreed in being my sister and brother's keeper before the R.O.M. That's just naturally how I've been. This type of energy was not readily accepted nor embraced within the R.O.M community as a collective whole. There were sisters, mainly, and some brothers, but mainly the elder sisters, the ones who would attack anything I myself would say or other sisters and brothers in an effort to extend upliftment or encouragement and soulful intelligence into the R.O.M community. Not welcomed at all. This happened countless times. It's more so an energy of envy, jealousy, and hate. And I have many screenshots of this to verify this. I even expressed this to you a few times, Nuben, and always in a respectful manner. And you always received me well. Like, or at least it appeared to. You were receiving me well. Tell me, how can one exist within a community that doesn't actually support real community? The total sum of any given day in the R.O.M consisted of endless chats, gossiping, greetings, sharing folly, hailing Amen, sharing lower vibrational nonsense. That for me on any given day prior to being a R.O.M member has never, ever been my cup of tea. So that leads me to your statement of you saying the other members did not care much for us anyways because we were standoffish. Really? Really? Yeah, naturally, we reject bullshit. I never liked gangs, even as a child. While school children played at recess, I voluntarily read or studied. I was introverted. I didn't have time for the folly. I always came here as a serious being on a mission, on a purposeful path. So no, we did not find it amusing to engage in nonsense. You either posted in the chat or other members. Never really talking about shit. A bunch of stale ass bodies waiting on the next for real directive or rerun or remixed broadcast. I guess to only feel this false ideology of instant gratification or this non-deserving grandiose idea about yourselves. You know, it really began to appear like some religious mayhem. Even feel like that at times. Replacing y'all Jesus Christ and Allah for Amen, the Savior. Wow. You know the nonsense they do to convince themselves they are great or that they are the true and exact ones while attempting to convince you to adhere to what they don't really think themselves. But hey, I suppose that's what repetition is for. After a while, the reciter starts to believe its own lies. That's just like an actor getting caught up playing the role. And they now think they're really that actor or actress of that role they're playing. All the while, the soul knows it's a lie. Is this why you manipulate people to ignore their feelings or energy and motion? So the soul no longer feels its way around in the dark, really teaching these manipulated souls to be cold, soulless, empty, unempathetic, and straight treacherous like animals, like how the nature of a venomous snake is. Well, last time I checked, we aren't animals. Well, at least for myself. My soul isn't something that can be defined by you or any being walking this plane or any other thing that exists in this realm. I am that I am. Seems to be your wilt is to create a group of beings who are just like you. Whether you acknowledge this or not doesn't make it any less factual. One mind to you means think my thoughts as I have given them to you, or think no thoughts. In my deceptive community, speak as I do, or don't speak at all. Isn't that precisely it, Nuben? Free thinking community is bullshit for the R.O.M, and that's why your org takes on a cultish structure. You stated, take my free thinking self elsewhere. That was hilarious, Nuben. Isn't this why you pushed eject on me, Nuben? Because I was too freely speaking, too freely thinking, to be too assertive for your taste buds? But wait, I thought that's what your community was about. I was under the false impression that your community thrived off men and women who could logically think for themselves, thus speak for themselves. I guess not. There's too much accountability and responsibility in that for everyone, especially for you, Nuben. Oops, there I go thinking for myself again. Please tell me, in all seriousness, logic and rationale, why in the world would an ancient soul need one man to think for them? One man to speak for them. Why would we have been given a mind and a voice box to utilize if we ain't supposed to do no thinking on our own and no speaking on our own? Don't make sense. Everybody should be mute. Everybody should be mindless, brainless. Come on now, stop the games. Please tell me, please. Doesn't add up. Hence the natural contentions. But you know, you do have a bunch of people who love that you have thought everything out for them. Why pure laziness and unmotivated to do for themselves beyond the mundane matrix structure? It's so much work and effort. Hell, Amen got this. Amen will do it. Won't he do it? Oh, won't they do it? I suppose this is the same reasoning you harshly attacked Sister Sandira on the phone that night of your so-called confessions broadcast. And yes, I was on the phone behind the scenes, once again, being privy to your diabolical wickedness. I patiently listened as you cursed her out, called her every name in the English bastard book, told her you now needed to do damage control on your members' minds. Degraded her womanhood, told her what she needed to go into the chat and say verbatim to the community to once again formulate and manipulate the perspectives of the members. And continuously called her about 40 times every time she would have to hang up because she couldn't any longer accept your intentional disrespect and degradation you spewed onto her. That in itself is what I was now able to place my finger on as to why I did and do not like you. Why my soul had a natural aversion to you. Because you hate women. And that night, it was clear to see and feel your own hatred for the one you were claiming as your mate, partner. That goes against the very thing, Nuben, you say you stand for in regards to men and women in union within the R.O.M. But that night, I could see you was only another hateful black nigger. Nigger, like you say. You say, make sure you put the emphasis of the ER on there. That's what you were being. That's what you were encompassing. Man. With internal mommy issues. Unhealed mommy issues. You know, the ones you know oh so well. Those ones you call niggers, black nigger this, black nigger that. That's what you were being. The ones you always talking about and running down. You know, everything you speak out against are the very things you do, Nuben. And that is why you can't separate your false personal life from your community. Because shouldn't you and your members actually be living the community you preach about? Huh? I know in Stephen and I personal lives, we held one and we hold one another accountable for what the community principles or objective was to be. We practice being one unified, one union for a greater purpose beyond ourselves. We practice this, Nuben. We do. Oh, but wait. You can't relate. You yourself have never actually experienced such dynamic of a real healthy, balanced family yet. alone relationship. So how can you instruct anyone based off of your lack of experience? Man knows not by being told, only by experience, thus being his or her greatest teacher. You know, by actually doing it, not by parroting or repeating others' learned experiences. The same way, how can you tell anyone about being a mother and a father and haven't actually experienced being a mother and a father this lifetime? It's all speculation until you actually become it, until you're actually doing it, until you're actually in it. Therefore, putting it into practice, thus being the living demonstration of what you teach. I can't understand how you can't not do that. It don't even make sense. Yeah, so don't make sense. That night of your pretend confessions and all the days forward, I was the only one openly to stand with my sister in her lowly place as your brain damaged members attacked and automatically sided with you, not knowing what she have been experiencing and enduring from you. I also must say this for the simple fact, as beings like your kind do, manipulate one's thinking, thus perspective. I know you attempted to create ugly narratives in CM's mind about me, a narrative of betrayal. Would that be the same betrayal to you asking me to be her behind the scene witness? Let me say that one more time. Would that be the same betrayal to you, Nuben, for Sindira asking me to be her behind the scene witness to your sinister ways towards her? Think about that. I'll also say this, Sindira. My intentions, as I have shared with you, has never been to betray you or hurt you for exposing our dialogue that we did have privately. In that, I do extend my deepest sincere apologies. However, like I said once before, one thing I learned having a process as a sister and having a physical process on this sojourn in a sisterhood society is this. Out of pure sisterly love, your sisters will do some things that you will not like and may hate her for in that exact moment. But when the smoke clears from misplaced emotions and the burning sands have been crossed to the other side of clarity, you will thank your sister and love your sister for the force she brought out of you, for the courage she pulled from you. You'll thank your sister for forcing you to stand strong in the face of fear, false evidence appearing real. You'll thank your sister for holding space for you, allowing you to shine even when hesitation wanted to set in. You'll thank your sister for being the light in a dark place, in a place that's you've been in too long, in a dark place you've been in too long. You'll thank your sister for being brave. Wow. You'll thank your sister for being brave. For her when she couldn't see how to be. You'll thank your sister for seeing you as she sees herself divinely. You'll thank your sister and appreciate her for being the force you needed to step into the force that which has always been within you. Tell me, can anyone imagine ordering a pizza, getting it delivered, the delivery arrives, you're handed a pizza box, smells like pizza aroma permeating through the air, the box is warm, and it's comparable weight of a pizza. The box feels like, like heavy, just enough how a pizza would feel. You haven't opened it yet. Only to now open the box in anticipation of a pizza being found inside the box, you find a hard as rock fruit cake. How would you feel? Anyone would be like, what the fuck? Pizza man, are you spoofing me? Hey. Moment. In that moment, it would be very disappointing. Probably like a disappointing moment because you were prepared to eat pizza, but you got a hard ass fruit cake that you did not anticipate. Because the man that I wanted to revere, wanted to trust, wanted to hold to a high self-esteem failed my optimistic mindset, failed himself. You failed me when you failed my sisters and brothers, when you spoke for one thing but did another to either myself or those in the community. Because whether that carbon sister or brother are in or out of the community, nonetheless, they are us and we are them. The only separation that can happen is a physical one. But in essence, nothing can truly be separated coming from the all that created all things into being in the entire omniverse. So separation you speak of is merely an illusion in the mind that created it. Now trust my words. I enter and understand the many levels, realms, timelines, time frames, frequencies, and dimensions. However, elementary put only does not fault the first grader for being in first grade while they are in fifth grade at the same school. It's simply a matter of that first grader making it to fifth grade as he or she levels up in their knowledge and apply wisdom to show themselves approved in their learning and evolving process. Nonetheless, the school is the body with many different levels. Time is the illusion of separation, as what is has always been and will always be. The past, present, and future are one in the same. Past and present equates to separation. However, if one soul is eternal, now there can be no separation from that immortality. Everything is fractionalized, Nuben, by the illusion of time. I've come to know separation or time is the tool to know how eternal you actually are. And this is achieved when I gather and recognize and acknowledge my parts in the eternal presence and future, unrealistically separated. Nuben, must you honestly know what was the catalyst to me no longer bridling my tongue? About 4 weeks to our ejection, there was an NRA sister, ex-member by the name of Denise, who had her own grievance experience with you. You know, she chose to display it publicly on Facebook. Her post surfaced on my timeline saying such things like, let me get it here. What did she say? It was very, and I won't read all of this because it's too much and it's just really absurd. But I will read one of the posts. She made several of them. And she said it, and she stated, hold on a second, I'm seeing which one I should read. Oh my goodness. And she stated, Anthony Scott, you got me effed up. You are a liar. You had me come to your project dirty ass apartment located at 201 Street. I don't need to read the whole address because I'm sure people already know that. Trying to get some PUSSY. I really don't like saying that word. Bitch, you had a sex predator taking advantage of women. You are a sex predator taking advantage of women. Using the Lord. You don't even exist in the fourth dimension. Riding that evil negative frequency. Yes, you did do something to me. You're mad because I ain't no dumb bitch allowing you to have your way with me. Going to prison where you belong. Another post. Fake people can say real things, but they can't live it, right? Nuben Menkarayzz speaking on himself. You a sexual predator. Why would she call you that? I just read some of these things and I was appalled. Nuben Menkarayzz, you are a motherfucking fluke ass nigga. You bought my flight ticket to 201, his apartment address, his home address is listed, because you want to be Big Daddy Dick and not Big Daddy Bitch. You got the wrong bitch. You want to fuck me during the show last night in your project tiny ass apartment. You was getting some head live from a whole last week. You've been in the projects for 12 years and don't even got a living room suit. I bet on my life I wouldn't fuck you with a... Wow, this is really, I'm going to just stop there because I don't want to continue to read this, because I just wanted to insert that some because I'm going into my next point of how, this thing played out, because the only thing people have been able to hear was Nuben's fallacies about everything, and not actually hearing the other side of the story, because there's two sides to the story, there's two coins, and then there's the truth. So hey, I'll let y'all decide. I really don't give a damn if you decide or not. This ain't for that. This is just an open letter for what I said it was. So now, shortly after one reading such debauchery, a natural reaction would be one of surprise, as that is what I reflected in my wow emoji I placed on that post, only on one post. Shortly after, I go into the R.O.M chat, only to see you, Nuben, demanding that everyone block and ignore her off of Facebook for the quote unquote black devil bitch, as you stated, Nuben, has gone crazy. Also stating you never seen her in person, which that was later revealed as a lie when she posted, bought and paid for airfare tickets from you sent to her. This chaos that was neither here or there. It was another red flag and shocking story of the many similar ones I had already heard regarding you, Nuben. Here is where the heightened contention began with you and I personally. After doing your damage control, your so-called damage control in the R.O.M Community chat, You then hopped into my inbox, stating, asking, why are you commenting on Denise's post? I explained to you that it was appalling to see such accusations, which later turned out to be mostly true, by way of shared messages, or verified rather, by way of shared messages, recorded phone calls, screenshots, and verbal dialogue that was shared with me about you, Nuben, coming from a member at the time. So how would that not be like shocking or wow, or like, perk up somebody's eyebrows and ears all at the same time, coming from a member at that time? Like, why would she say all these things about you if they weren't true or had some type of truth to it? Anyways, you then stated you wanted to have several phone conversations. Well, you didn't state you wanted to have several phone conversations. You stated you wanted to have a verbal phone conversations, which turned into several phone conversations in a matter of days, over a course of 1 week. About a week, we had a total of 5 phone conversations, all of which clearly were you attempting to create a screensaver narrative for my mind, shaking my head. However, I will say this. The dialogue was cordial in nature between the two of us. So, okay. So in between the ignited turbulence ex-member D Banks had initiated, there was a phone call made by you, Nuben, to an ex-member known as Vicky Mohammed. Side note, I know you probably wondering, like, how the fuck does this woman have privy or is privy to much inside intel about me? Nuben, I have one answer for you, and one answer only. Divinely sent, as I told you several times before. But back to this. Unbeknownst to you, I was on that call, 3-way in. I listened for about 2 hours straight of your ranting, raving, and disrespect of myself and other members. You raved about the so-called mentellect groupie problem you were having with ex-member D Banks. You also called her very disrespectful names, like you like to do, like you're known to do, and you called her a liar. But what got me most is when V asked you one question, Nuben. And they were, so what did your members have to say about this? All your members are fine with this situation, Nuben? These are V's questions to you, Nuben. Your response was like, yeah, my members cool. She ain't messing up nothing. They were siding with me in the chat and blocked her ass like I told them to do. V. So no one said anything in opposition to that? Pause. Check yourself right here, Nuben. Check yourself right here, because you full of you know what. Nuben, this is you. Well, there was this one bitch, Denzeka. I had to set that bitch straight about my personal life, you know. The bitch this, the bitch that. V was like, damn, that's how you talk about your members, Nuben? You, Nuben, were like, well, let me stop calling her a bitch because she's still a member. But I still had to let the fucking bitch know my personal life has nothing to do with this community. Nuben, I was furious listening to this amongst other diabolical conversations I had privy to hearing as a third party. And disgusting talk about other members to longtime ex-member of 2016. Like, shaking my head, shame on you, makes no sense. This in itself showed much of your deceit. Like, come on now. Here it is. You tell members to cut off their so-called dead black family members, fade ex-members to black in your mind and in their mind, and only deal with men, women in the community. Only time, according to you, Nuben, a Mentalian should interact or engage with someone outside of the R.O.M, because you know everybody else is dead, everybody else ain't on y'all level, everybody else don't have anything to contribute to you outside of business purposes only. That's your that's what you put out there, Nuben, to the community. So, Nuben, what kind of business arrangement did you have with V? Please tell everyone. Again, another example of the deceiving liar you are. Nuben, I carried and held on to confronting you to not expose my source or method, mainly for my altered disposition that was altered by way of you. Nuben, at that point, I had enough of your nonsense and falsehood. Learning without a shadow of a doubt, you don't mean me well or your so-called members. In fact, you run everyone down horribly behind closed doors. You know, your so-called personal life doors. In fact, this was your business with V, gossiping about all your members you don't give two shits about. Here's how this goes, Nuben. In my reality, in my book, in my mind, in my thinking mind, there is no in between. No gray areas for me. Remember, Nuben, no gray areas. I was always in the lead. And those that are for, those that are for me have my utmost loyalty, respect, and love. And anyone against me is viewed as an enemy and thus placed in that bucket. Come what may, I do and I will. I learn from both friends or foes, using such to propel me ahead. Learning who a person is and their true intentions allows me to better know how to handle you. If I choose to freely to engage you at all. But don't volunteer me for your bullshit because you come in a fictitious way. Don't lay it on the table and let a person freely choose and have a total, complete, informed decision about you, a person or a thing. Don't come halfway, half stepping like you do in half done and still do. Nuben, I confronted you about hearing your disrespect, about hearing you disrespect me in conversation. My grandma always said, how a person talks about you behind closed doors is how they view you. And how a person treats you is how they feel about themselves. Now listen, let me make this clear. I don't give a damn how you view me because I know who I am. I'm very confident in that. And I really don't give a damn about how you feel about me because I know it's really you. You got issues with your own damn self that you need to figure out. So let's get that straight. Of course, you denied saying such things. Everyone's a lying black or white demon except Nuben Anthony Scott Menkarayzz. Let's fast forward past all the in-between activity, fluffing and whatnot of the back and forth messages between you and I and the brief phone calls where you addressed none of my concerns as to the comments you made. Although you did say that we were going to have some real deep conversations. That never actually happened. Only thing you wanted to know, your only concern was were me and Steven caught up on our dues. And if we was not, when would we be? And how much we needed to submit for dues. That's the only fucking thing you cared about. So, Nuben, at this point, having that last phone call with you, I needed a break from your disturbing energy, all your double talk, lies, and debauchery. So I chilled on you for a total of 4 days. In that time frame, you messaged me, you texted me, you called me, and the content of your text and your Facebook messages was about posting on Facebook and asked if I was ignoring you because you didn't get any immediate responses from me. On the 4th day, I had gathered my thoughts and what and how I wanted to respond to you. Let me read to the audience why I was ejected from your agenda playbook, Nuben. I'll read directly. This is what I said to you. You know, I was ejected from your playbook, Nuben. What I had wrote was a part of your, what I had wrote was not a part of your mind control manipulation one-on-one playbook, you know. So my response to you was, Menzek, with extended respect, yes, I was. So yes, I was ignoring you. Listen, as a leader, if your only job is to gather the people of the 144,000, then stick to that. Anything else in regards to attempting to mind control or control any of our personal affairs will not be tolerated from you or the next. And please do not get my divine self misunderstood, as I am being direct and straightforward with you as the supreme woman and being that I am. Nuben, I am a mother. And one thing I have learned in this role that I serve as a leader is that you must allow beings to be whom they came here to be, period. It is not my job as a mother to attempt to control my offspring, but to allow her a space of healthy equilibrium to develop in a healthy manner and rear those things that which I see in her to evolve and unfold in an untainted manner. With that being said, here we go. I've lost my place of reading. Hold on a second. So, with that being said, we are not your children, slaves, sheeple, or any of the inferior things you may perceive us to be in relation to you as a leader. I have had the privilege to hold many leadership roles, and one definitive mark of a leader, which you call yourself, is having the capacity to have a high regard and consideration factor beyond their own motives and personal ambitions. Actually care about its people, which cannot be turned on and off if it is genuine. So I say all that to say, if we already had a discussion, it is not your right or duty to continue to attempt to facilitate or mold our way of thinking or energy surrounding it, antagonizing us about it. Allow things to be and thus take its natural course. We know what your wishes are, and you know what we have said in regards to them. We are intelligent adults and not brainless peasants. With this, Soden and I are one unit. We are in divine alignment and agreement with one another. So therefore, all of the back and forth in attempting to create divisional energy or discord amongst us for your personal wishes to be met will not be tolerated from anyone. My question then to you is, if you are the one and only counsel to the members that you control with an iron fist, then who and what is your counsel of accountability? Because surely it cannot be yourself, and surely it can not only be some being we all are in connection with. I ask you to know and discern healthy boundaries and respectively to not cross them. Thank you and good day, Menkarayzz. Also, furthermore, it is not necessary for you to continually ask us if we are or are not wanting to leave this community. I've already told you under no circumstances, including for any worldly, fictitious, man-made currency, we are not leaving unless instructed or escorted out by the Lord Most Highest itself to do so. That is not under your control, as this is not about you, Menkarayzz. Okay, this is Nuben. Okay, I have one response for you. Me, okay. Nuben, fade to black. Goodbye, you and Soda. And
you heard that?
I said we won't, and I'll kind of like touch on that. He said goodbye. You do not get to disrespect me and think you can stay here. I didn't print out the rest of the message, but basically I disrespected you, Nuben, because this is what you're saying. I disrespected you, Nuben, because I didn't follow your orders for posting on Facebook, which I had posted several of your broadcasts that day and the day before. I didn't follow your orders to take down any post that you felt was not agreeable to you. And I called you Nuben, and I was never ever supposed to again call you Nuben after you had given these Mentelian names to I was never supposed to call you a Nuben when I became a member. That's what you said. You were either only mentor or I have the message Nuben Amir something. It's neither here nor there. So yeah. So you see, Nuben, what you want to create is a group of people who are just like you or minions unto you. Just like you, how? Well, soulless, empty, without real responsibility and accountability, whether you acknowledge this to be reality or not, without their own intelligent thinking minds. So, yes, you ejected me. You ejected us from your deceptive script because I stood up and spoke straightforward and direct to you as a woman, as an adult. Ultimately, you rejected reproach, accountability, responsibility for your words and actions. Your non-ability to respond to adversity is evident in the immaturity that rests in you. It's also evident in the lack of leadership. Let me just side note real quick, like, Nuben, you didn't have one response to anything I said. Although you and I'll interject with this, like, you crossed many boundaries. Like, you did so much calling back and forth. You messaging Steven one thing, and then you messaging me another thing, causing confusion over here. Let me give you one example how you did this. You did it several times, and for me, I was already tired of your bullshit. I was attempting to keep my composure with you, and to I was staying in the community really to keep my damn eye on you, because at this point and at this time I had already discovered enough of your bullshit. I just wanted to keep my eye on you, and I wanted to hold you to this this Lord Amen thing that you claim to be the Lord Most High, and that it's not you making any decisions, but clearly this is all coming from you, Nuben. It's not no transmission or the Lord Most High giving you things and conducting things, because if that be the case, why didn't the Lord Most High say deny these people? Don't give these people names or whatever if it's coming from a transmission from elsewhere. So it's bullshit. That's bullshit. But not only that, you crossed. Let me get back to the example of how you just was crossing boundaries in regards to our personal relationship. You over here messaging Steven one thing after you've already spoke to me and spoke to us together. First of all, we had a joint conversation on the phone about dues or whatnot. Or this particular situation, we had a joint conversation that we were going to have. We were going to have like a conference call amongst the three of us about dues, and about any other things I guess we wanted to talk about that we never talked about outside of, we just talked about dues. And so you and I had already discussed the time, and we confirmed the time amongst ourselves. You already know that Stephen and I communicate with one another. We live in the same household together. We are together. And so after you and I had already set a date and a time, you then go into Stephen's inbox a few hours later and give him a different time. But you never ever said anything to me, nor did you say anything to Stephen that we had already set a time. That's the bullshit I'm talking about. That's just one of the many different things you did. Like that trying to cause discord and confusion in people's homes and in their relationships. So again, back to where I was leading up to. So yeah, you ejected us because we didn't. We wasn't fitting into your deceptive script, and so ultimately, again, that's what happened. You rejected reproach, accountability, responsibility for your words and actions, your non-ability to respond to, adversity is evident in the immaturity that rests in you. The immaturity to face what you created to begin with. You take no ownership of your rogue creations and projections. So being so-called rejected or ejected is only perceived to be threatening to you because I stood firm in my divine being. Nuben, if you're the so-called Messiah, then what can threaten you? That's just a question for you, a hypothetical question for you. Because nothing can threaten me. Not even death. Anyways, it's clear we are being divinely guided to move to a higher community, one that is balanced, fulfilling, and all-encompassing of what family, unity, oneness, balanced, divine and masculine energies and community is all about. Perhaps one that is currently in the making. And one more question. And who holds the Messiah accountable in a community? Let's just, think about some shit. Okay, so one thing you should know about me, Nuben, is that I don't fear so-called embarrassment. If I had any fear, it would be living a constrained life where I am not allowing myself to be who I am. My soul to be who my soul is designed to be. It would be failing at what my purpose and contracts on a soul level is. That's what my fear would be if I had any. It would be to be misguided by outside unhealthy sources, be it man or woman, friend or foe, or any other type of beings, agent, informant, handler, because I've experienced those too. But anyways, that's neither here nor there. Many lessons have come about from this experience, from this illusion in this matrix. The main one I'll share is to always acknowledge and honor my own inner knowing and staying vigilantly aware of why I am being divinely guided and sent to a particular place or person. A constant theme in my sojourn has undeniably been to be the light or script changer wherever I stride. There's always reason and divine purpose for me, realizing myself wherever I am in this shared omniverse. I further understand and overstand my own abilities to see the lessons in what only appears to be a loss is where my greatest strength and gains lie. For me, this is an inevitable process, and I experience that has assisted in the shifting and redirecting of my inner foresight. My experience has assisted in the shifting and redirecting of my inner foresight and knowing, ultimately transforming into my successes, in evolving in all directions of my total whole being. So in other words, Nuben, I never lose. I only gain. My soul is ancient and can't be quantified into your limited boxes. My soul has existed and experienced many lifetimes and timelines. You know this as well, Nuben. You know this. Oh, you do. That very being that possesses your vessel knows this. I know you know this. You know me from past lifetimes. Yes, you do. You can deny it if you want to. You know us from past lifetimes. Yes, you do. You can deny it if you want to. We never had a good run with each other. You and I, Nuben. Those are things that have been revealed to me. Perhaps I've always despised your wicked ways, mainly your treatment of the divine feminine. You run from the timeline to timeline only to find you can't hide. Is this what you were referring to, Nuben, when you say you were sick, or when you say you were tired of this with me? I wondered, because what were you exactly tired of? I find you everywhere you go, attempting to run this archonic game you play. Only this time, in this timeline, it's game over. Your games are over. Lay them to rest, please, for the sake of yourself and the sake of everyone. P.S. My reasoning for continuing to display R.O.M Menkarayzz as my Facebook screen name is simply this. Anything anyone names have the means or rights to control it. So Nuben, your narc self is furious inside and outwardly displaying that because the very name you gave to attempt for control, to control a being you no longer have control over or never had control over, or the self-grandizing illusion of control, or which you sought to control for life. As you stated, the names were for life, right, Nuben? When you gave them out, right? Because that's what you said. I'm making a statement, damn it. So get over it. Just get over it. You sound like a broken record now. We can never be defined or classified by names or titles. Those in itself are man-made self-limitations. And any limitless being have no such confinements to names or places. So, UGTFOH. Class, Menzeki Aminu.